What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. This is super exciting. They have announced the class sets, all of the class tier sets for Season 2 of Dragonflight in Embers of Neltharion. They're all here. Some of them are testable on the PTR server. Not all of them, though. So I'm just going to go over in written form the ones that are here. And we're going to talk one by one about each of them, what I think about them, why I think they're actually potentially good or bad, and I am actually going to rate them all on a tier list. I know tier lists are kind of whatever, they're for fun, but I've got a good reason why I'm going to list them on the tier list here, and I'll tell you my reasonings in a minute. But just know that, again, guys, this is just for fun. We're just trying to basically make a really good assessment on how Blizzard has done on the basically the overall idea of the tier set bonus, not necessarily its power or the tuning of it, which can all change, but I'm really trying to assess, like, what is the overall idea of what they were going for, and did they nail it? Is it actually exciting? Is it fun? Is it interesting? Not just does it give me more damage, right? So that's really what we're looking for, because the tier sets in Season 1 were, of course, just very bland, because we were getting used to the new talents. So let's dive in here and see what's going on. I'll show you my tier list here. Okay, so here's my tier list. On the right-hand side, I have all the different specs here. We're just going to go through the first 7 today, and then I'm going to do the last 6 in a different video because there's way too many to get to. Okay, here's the categories here. What I'm trying to go for here is, like, does it have a solid idea behind it, and does it also impact your talents or rotation? Does it give you choices? Is it going to shake up the meta for your speculative? I think that's actually really important, because remember, we're playing season to season, and the seasons are shorter than they've probably ever been, because Blizzard is just punching through all the content, which is really great. And what it means is that we get to really play around with something, and I think I want Blizzard to take risks here and say, you know what, you're going to be focusing on this ability for the next 4 months, and then boom, we're going to clean slate and start again with a new tier set bonus on the next season. So really, it's about does it impact your talents rotation? The next one would be, it's a strong idea, but it's mostly passive, so it's not really impacting your talent or choices too much. The third one is that it's boring, but it's still going to be strong. So it's completely boring, but it's probably still strong. And then the fourth category is that it really does need work. This is not good enough yet, and it's in a bad place, and it needs help. And there are several sets that are in this category as well. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to start with the Death Knights, of course. Let's start with Blood Death Knight here. Heartstrike and Blood Boil deal 20% increased damage, have 10% chance to give you Vamp Blood for 5 seconds. When you would gain Vamp Blood, you are infused with Vampiric Strength, granting you 10% strength for 5 seconds. Your Heartstrike and Blood Boil extend the duration of this strength bonus by 0.5 seconds. So this is pretty solid. And overall, I think this is a really sound idea for Blood DKs. Essentially, you're just going to be getting Vamp Blood up all the time, which is really good. That is a really, really good thing. It's a massive cooldown for you. It's just going to give you so much sustain. And if you also take Red Thirst over here, you're getting the cooldown down on that as well. Like, you literally are just going to have Vamp Blood running all the time. I think that's kind of crazy to think about that. So I think the proc chance might be a little bit low. They only have a 10% chance to give you Vamp Blood. Now, again, maybe that's the only way that they can really balance this, because otherwise it would be completely overpowered to have, like, Vamp Blood running and then getting the cooldown on Red Thirst and then, like, also having it proc all the time from your tier set. So maybe it's just completely broken, but strength scaling is always good for Blood DK, and Vamp Blood is insane for Blood DK. So I think overall this is a great set. I wonder, though, if the proc chance could maybe go up a little bit. That'd be the only thing I could think about, but extending the strength bonus is pretty good. So that ends up going, I believe, where did I put it here? We're going to put that in the second category here. So it's strong, mostly passive, doesn't really impact your talents at all, right? You're not really going to take any different talents probably when it comes to this one here. So that's good. Let's go to the next one. Frost DK, Howling Blast and Frost Fever damage. This one's really good, by the way. Increased by 10%. Your Rhyme-empowered Howling Blasts reduce the cooldown of Frostworm's Fury by 2 seconds. Okay, so Frostworm's Fury is your big dragon, right, on the right-hand side here. The cooldown of Frostworm's Fury goes down to 1.5 minutes if you take Absolute Zero. So it's a 1.5 minute cooldown already. Your Rhyme-empowered Howling Blast reduces the cooldown of Frostworm's Fury by 2 seconds. Okay. After consuming 15 Rhymes, you call down a Frostworm's Fury on your target at a 100% effectiveness. This is insane. This is literally dragons everywhere. I guess they're frostworms. You're going to be calling down frostworms all the G-dang time, because you know what? Getting Rhyme to proc is actually not that difficult. It happens quite a bit. So Obliterate has a 45% chance, and your Frostbite does as well, to cause your next Howling Blast to consume no runes and deal more damage. You can guarantee that this happens if... no, not with the Killing Machine one. Sorry, there are things that proc Rhyme here. Let me look really quick. Rhyme. Over here, you can get Rhyme, of course. Obliterate has a chance to trigger Rhyme. A 15% increased chance to trigger Rhyme and Howling Blast. That's a huge one. You can combo that, obviously, with Rhyme over here. And then there's other ones, other talents down here that increase the damage of it, of course. And then you get the Icicles as well. But this is the big one over here. You could maybe potentially come over here and get this talent, Rage of the Frozen Champion. Obliterate has a 15% increased chance to trigger Rhyme because it has a baseline 45% chance. You could take that to 60, which you might want to do with this tier set bonus, because the more Rhymes you're getting, the more dragons you're calling down, and then you're cooling down your actual, frostworms. You're cooling down your actual frostworm as well. So I think this is nuts. It's particularly for Mythic Plus. AoE damage in Mythic Plus, getting all the frozen enemies, it just does a crazy amount of damage as well. So I think this is a really, really fun one. This is absolutely going in the top. I think this is one of the most exciting sets that has actually been announced. So it's a solid idea. It'll impact your rotations a little bit, potentially, because you're going to want to be proccing Rhyme all the time. Your priority is going to be on Rhyme, and you might want to go take Rage of the Frozen Champion to trigger Rhyme more often as well. So that's the second one there. Let's get to Unholy. Unholy is in a rough spot. I'm not going to lie. Death Coil and Epidemic damage goes up by 10%. Casting Death Coil or Epidemic grants a stack of Master of Death. At 20 stacks, Master of Death is consumed, and you gain 15% Mastery for 20 seconds. The 4 set says when Death Coil or Epidemic consumes Sudden Doom, which is a proc that you have going all the time. It's down here. Your auto attacks have a chance to make your next Death Coil or Epidemic free, basically. Whenever the Sudden Doom goes, you get 2 stacks of Master of Death and increase the Mastery bonus, or increase the Mastery bonus to 25% if you're already in the Master of Doom window. I was looking at the guys in the forums. The problem with this really is that this set bonus that you're getting gives you sort of consistent bonuses that are stacking up slowly over time. Unholy DK is all about like pushing all of your cooldowns into this big window and then just blowing everything up, right? You pop Slappy Hands, you pop Army of the Dead, you pop everything and you just go, and you get like a PI from a priest, and you're doing insane damage in your cooldown window, but you're not doing a lot of damage outside of your cooldown window. So this tier set kind of promotes damage all the time outside of your big cooldown window. And you can't, like, predict, really, when this is going to proc, when your Master of Death is going to get consumed, like, 20 stacks. Like, you can't really decide when you're going to get the 20 stack bonus. So I just think that this needs to be reworked, and this is going to go down in the rework category here. This needs some work. It needs some love. I think that all of the Unholy DK guys who were yelling about this on the forums, I think they're probably right, that you really need to make a set that is going to buff up Unholy DK during its big window of damage, because I think if you try to spread out the damage when it's not doing a whole lot of damage is a little bit silly and isn't probably going to get you the same kind of result as if you just went all in on the big cooldown like Army of the Dead. Okay, so I think Unholy needs some work for sure. It's going to go down there. Okay, that's the Death Knight. Let's move on to Demon Hunter. All right, here's Demon Hunter. We're going to start with Havoc, of course, on the right hand side here. Let me move this over here. There we go. Okay, so 2-set bonus. Every 200 Fury you spend, you gain Seething Fury, increasing your agility by 8%. So that's just damage. Very good. And then, of course, I got stuck on the thing there. Each time you gain Seething Fury, gain 15 Fury, and the damage of your next I-Beam is increased by 12%, stacking up to 5 times. Some of the people were complaining about this in the forums. I think I probably agree with them. Number one, I think the 200 Fury mark is like a little bit high to get there. Like, I think some people were saying 150 is a better benchmark, so I'm assuming Blizzard's going to tune that again. Remember, all the numbers are subject to tuning. This is not really what we're talking about. What about the general idea of this set? Is it a good idea? I don't really think so. Number one, it just accentuates another AoE ability that you already have. Havoc Demon Hunter does not suffer in AoE damage, right? They've got Eye Beam, you've got Blade Sweep, like Blade Sweep. You've got things like Essence Break, right? You have so many different AoE buttons. You've got Glaive Tempest if you want. You have things that will give you your Eye Beam back. Every time you meta, you're getting another Eye Beam. You've got the Collective Anguish giving you a Fell Devastation on top of the Eye Beam. You got Fodder to the Flame doing AoE damage. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? How many different sources of AoE damage you have. So I think that Throw Glaive even bounces around. Immolation Aura is doing AoE damage. So I just think that you don't need more AoE damage, right? You really just don't. And I think that ideally you would want to get more single target damage or more funnel damage. The ability to potentially buff like things like your Chaos Strike or the Annihilation, which is the Metamorphosis version of that. I do think that they need to work on this. I think that this needs to change, and it's going to need to get a lot of work. We're going to throw that into the needs work category. I think primarily just because Havoc has got AoE damage. They don't need it. They don't need more. They need more single target damage, more buffs to that. Potentially what you could do with this is when you gain Seething Fury, which is the passive they have, the thing you have going here, it could say your next 2 Chaos Strikes gain the benefits of all of your Chaos Strike talents. So look at this. This is kind of an idea that I was just throwing around. Chaos Strike. So look at the talents here. Go away. This talent here, Relentless Onslaught. Chaos Strike has a chance to trigger a second one. Inner Demon. Entering demon form causes Chaos Strike to unleash your Inner Demon, causing it to crash into the target, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. And then Chaos Theory, which your Chaos Strike has higher crit strike chance and will always refund Fury. I think it would be kind of neat if, like, when you got this Seething Fury buff, instead you gained 15 Fury, and then the damage of your next, like, Chaos Strike was bumped up, and your Chaos Strike benefited from these 3 talents. Chaos Theory, Inner Demon, and Relentless Onslaught. Whether or not you were talented into them or not, it just gets the benefit of these 3 talents. If you are talented into them, you get double the benefit. So, like, Chaos Strike would have a 20% chance to trigger a second Chaos Strike. The Enter the Demon would do double the damage that it does now. Like, something like that, where you're focusing more of your energy onto Chaos Strike and getting it to do more damage, and then giving subsequent buffs, something like that. I don't know exactly what it would be, but this just feels kind of weak, and it's giving you AoE damage that you already have. You don't need that, okay? Let's move on to Vengeance. Soul Fragments heal for 10% more, and generating a Soul Fragment increases your fire damage by 2% for 6 seconds. This can overlap. So if you're generating tons and tons of Soul Fragments, you're actually going to be getting a big bonus to your fire damage if you can keep generating a lot of Soul Fragments over and over again, which I think is actually really interesting. Go back to that in a second. 4-piece bonus. Shear and Fracture now deal fire damage. After consuming 20 Soul Fragments, your next cast of Shear or Fracture applies Fiery Brand to the target for 6 seconds. That's insane. The biggest thing I'm thinking about here for Vengeance is Charred Warblades. So your Shear and your Fracture are now going to do fire damage. Fiery Brand already does fire damage. Immolation Aura does fire damage. Like, there are a million things in this kit that do fire damage now. And you can basically heal for all, like, not for all of it, but 3% of the fire damage deal is crazy when you're considering that Shear and Fracture are being included in that now. So this is really, really cool. I like the idea of this. And I think that it might potentially push you into wanting to get abilities that will give you more Soul Fragments so that you can consume more Soul Fragments so that you can get another Fiery Brand. Fiery Brand, of course, is insane. It gives you 40% damage reduction against that enemy, and you can get it to spread around and stuff. But imagine for a second that you took something like Soul Carver, which will give you immediately shatters 2 lesser Soul Fragments from the target, and then 1 additional Soul Fragment, 3 more over the next 3 seconds. So 5 in total. That's 5 more towards this total of getting back to another Fiery Brand. And also, it's going to be buffing your fire damage every time you generate a Soul Fragment. So this might potentially change your build. I don't know what Vengeance DH is run right now, besides like maybe Last Resort. I don't think they're necessarily using Soul Cover, but on a 1-minute cooldown, getting 5 Soul Fragments is pretty insane. I think you might also be able to grab more with things like the Immolation, right? Fallout Immolation Aura has a chance to burst. Maybe you already take this, and that's great. But just any way you can get to generate more Soul Fragments could be kind of cool and might potentially change the way you want to build your Elysian Decree, for example, might be really, really good, right? Fodder to Flame is also very good, but imagine Elysian Decree. It's going to shatter up to 3 lesser soul fragments. That might be really crazy, right? So this set is kind of cool, and it might actually change the talents that you're running with. Again, I don't really know what Vengeance DH is run with right now, but I'm actually going to throw this right up at the top. I think this is really good. This potentially changes your talents. It's got solid mitigation, solid damage, and it really takes a bit of skill to potentially min-max the fire damage that you're going to be getting. And then it also changes your perspective a little bit by making Shear and Fracture now deal fire damage, which is going to benefit greatly from Charred Warblade. So I think it's really, really cool. I like the design of it. It's simple, and I think it works. Okay? So that's Demon Hunter really quick. Havoc and DH. Havoc is really rough, in a rough spot, and Vengeance is in a good spot. All right, let's move on to Druid here. Balance, first of all. Sunfire Radius increased by 2 yards. Sunfire, Moonfire, Shooting Stars damage increased by 18%. Shooting Stars has a 20% chance to instead call down a Crashing Star. That's it. It generates 5 Astral Power. This is super boring. I mean, this is like giga boring. And I think that it might actually be strong. It might actually do some damage for you, but it is incredibly boring. And I think, unfortunately, I'm going to put it there down in this. This isn't really iterating on anything. You're just, every time a Shooting Star comes down, you might get a Crashing Star. So not a fan of this. And I hope that they maybe do a little bit better. I hope they change this, honestly, dramatically. Feral. Auto attacks have a chance to grant Shadows of the Predator, increasing your agility by 1%. This is really strange. Each application past 5 has an increasing chance to reset to 2 stacks. When a Shadow of the Predator application resets to 2 stacks, you gain 5% increased agility, and you generate 1 combo point every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds. It's just like, God, Blizzard. So you get 3 combo points over 6 seconds if this thing that is procced by your auto attacks resets itself to 2 after going past 5 stacks. So you have 5% agility, and then like maybe 6, 7, 8, and then it goes down to 2. And then you get 5%. And then you keep... I don't understand. It's really weird and convoluted and ridiculous. And I hope they completely change this because it's insane. I don't know. These kinds of things, I don't understand why they make it work. Like why they do it like this. Unfortunately, it does just give you straight up agility, and it's giving you straight up combo points. So it might actually be okay. It's incredibly boring. I was trying it on the dummies, and like I literally didn't even realize what was happening. Nothing's going on. This is borderline needs a rework. Like I would probably put it in needs a rework. I just don't like this at all. It's really weird. It doesn't interact with any of our cool abilities that we have. Like just pick an ability and interact. This is the most boring thing I could ever see in my life. But I don't know. It's like between these two. I'm going to put it at needs rework because I just don't like it. Let's go to Guardian. This one's a little bit better. Actually, quite a bit better. When you take damage, Mangle and Thrash damage and Rage generation are increased by 15%. So when you get hit, your damage goes up and your Rage generation goes up. And you heal for 6% of the damage taken over 8 seconds. Holy crap. This scales with whatever damage you're taking. If you get smacked by a raid boss for a colossal amount of damage, you will heal for 6% of that damage that you took over 8 seconds. So it scales really, really well. Maul and Raise damage is buffed by 20%, and casting Iron Fur or Maul or Raise increases your maximum health by 3% for 12 seconds times 5. 15% maximum health. This is so cool and so good, and people were like dumping on this in the forums because they're stupid. This is incredibly strong. Number one, I was trying it on the testing dummies. The healing is really good. Like, it's actually really good. The max health is really good too. And when you think about max health, guys, if you're getting temporary max health, you need to think of it as like a bubble. It's like a shield, right? You're getting a temporary increase to your maximum health. That means that all that health that you got, you can lose it, and then you're just back to your normal amount of health that you had. So it's like having a little shield. And it's amazing because it's very much in the Guardian Druid vein of things. Getting maximum health is a Bear Druid thing. So I really like this. I like the design that they're going for here. I love that you can press Maul for single target or Raise for AoE or Iron Fur for defense, and you're going to get this max thing going on. 20% more damage there is really good. You're also going to do more damage with Mangle and Thrash and get more Rage generation and heal. It's like insane. Like, it literally has everything. So this is going up here. This is a solid idea. It might cause you to change your talents a little bit depending on what's going on, but realistically, it's just a very, very good idea that's going to cover every single base for you, and I think it's very much in the Guardian Druid vein of thinking. So this is a good tier set bonus. It's going to be really good, honestly. I think this is just going to be crazy. The amount of healing that Guardian Druid can do now is disgusting. I think they're kind of like a pseudo prop paladin now, where they can heal everybody else at the same time while they're taking damage. Resto Druid. Rejuvenation and Life Balloon healing by 15%. Regrowth healing over time by 75%. That's pretty big. Flourish increases the rate of your heal over time effects by 40% for an additional 16 seconds after it ends. That's insane. So you're going to flourish and everything's going to go like twice as fast. And then 16 seconds after, it's going to go 40% faster. That's like wild. Like, I feel like it's a little bit inefficient, maybe. Like in a raid, your hots are going to be just falling off, I feel like. But they're going to be ticking really hard. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Verdant Infusion, which is the single target flourish, causes your Swiftmen target to gain 15% increased healing from you for 6 seconds. So I think that... I think this is just really good overall. What I'm most excited about here is that you can choose between Verdant Infusion or Flourish. That's a talent choice that you get to make on the talent tree, and I think that that is what honestly is making this really cool, in my opinion. I think that it makes it very strong, but also, I mean, the numbers here are just really strong, and realistically, this is probably going to get nerfed, but I'm going to say this is a solid idea. There are talent choices here that you could potentially go with, which makes it a really solid idea, and it definitely impacts your throughput. It's going to impact your rotation a little bit here. It's potentially just going to be really crazy. When you're flourishing, you're going to be obviously healing everybody like a lot, but then for 16 seconds afterwards, that's a long, long time to get 40% quicker healing over time. So maybe it's completely inefficient. And I feel like in Mythic Plus, it's going to be nuts if you take Flourish, because you're just going to be like, everybody's going to be hotted and just you're going to be burning through your heals like crazy. So it could be really good there, but I think it's basically S tier. It's quite good. All right, so that is it for Druid. Let's move on to Evoker. All right, Evoker here. We're going to look at Devastation first. Disintegrate and Pyre pierce enemies with obsidian shards, dealing 12% of the damage done as volcanic damage over 8 seconds. Empowered spells, volcanic, by the way, sorry, is fire and nature, right? Empowered spells deal 8% increased damage and cause the obsidian shards to become supercharged, dealing 200% more damage for 5 seconds. So during Dragon Rage, everything is supercharged. So you're essentially getting an extra dot from Disintegrate and Pyre. And then your empowered spells cause those shards to do like triple damage. So we'll just have to see with tuning. This is just a tuning thing. I don't really know if this is good or not. It's basically completely passive. I'm going to put it here for now. I think that it doesn't really change anything in terms of your talents. It's not really interesting. It's just adding this ridiculous damage scaling thing going on, but we don't know what the numbers are going to look like, so we'll just have to wait and see. Okay? Preservation. Spirit Bloom applies a heal over time effect for 40% of the healing done over 8 seconds. Dream Breath's healing is increased by 50%. This is good. People were wondering if this was going to get buffed, so that's a good little buff there. Spirit Bloom giving an extra heal over time is pretty cool. 40% is no joke. That's a lot of extra healing. Here's the big one, though. After casting 3 empowered spells, gain Essence Burst immediately and another 3 seconds later. Essence Burst, of course, if you don't know, is the main sort of fuel for the engine that is Preservation Evoker. If you are getting Essence Bursts to go off, then you are getting free casts on your next Essence costing ability, which is very, very good. Those are your really powerful heals for the most part, right? So really good stuff there. I think this is quite good for preservation. It's this 4-piece that really does it for me. The throughput coming through on the 2-piece is great, but the resource saving and the resource generation on the 4-piece is really what does it. I think that's going to make it really strong, and it's just gonna make it so you can save yourself a ton of Essence Burst procs that you're maybe not getting otherwise. Like maybe you were fishing really hard for Essence Burst procs and you don't have to anymore. You're just gonna get them for free after casting 3 empowered spells. So it's also within your control to decide when you want to get these Essence Burst procs, which means the skill cap goes way up. On the really good Evokers will know exactly when to use this and when not to, and that makes it even better. So that's Evoker, pretty good. They're both pretty good, but Preservation is a little bit better. All right, Hunter, let's get to BM Hunter here. Here we go. 2-step bonus. Cobra Shot and Kill Command damage increased by 15%. So throughput Cobra Shot, Kill Command, and Multi-Shot reduce the cooldown of Beast or Wrath by 1 second. So this is kind of like really boring and just more of the same of what Beastmaster Hunter already wants to do. And you already have several talents that like give you back charges of Barb Shot, which are giving you back charges of Beast or Wrath, because whenever you press Barb Shot, reduces the cooldown of Beast or Wrath by 12 seconds. And it's like things like Wild Call might be less necessary now. I don't think it's actually going to change any of your talents, which means it's sort of just a redundancy. Like it really is just not giving you a whole lot here, because it's already doing what you do very well, which is reducing the cooldown of Barb Shot or Beast or Wrath, sorry, with your Barb Shots and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna go boring, but probably still strong, because it just gives you 15% more damage on Kill Command in particular, and Kill Command damage, of course, goes into Kill Cleave right here when Beast Cleave and Kill Cleave, right? So wait, is it Kill Command? Yeah, here it is. Kill Command now also strikes nearby enemies for 50%. Sorry, so buffing your Kill Command damage is just good for more AoE damage, which is great. But I don't know. This part is just kind of lame. You really should never, ever lose your Barb Shot buff now, like ever again, because Beast of Wrath will be back even more often than it is already. So this might just help to kind of smooth things out for the people who are still struggling to keep 3 stacks of your Beast of your Barb Shot buff going. Sorry, but anyway, it's pretty boring. Let's move on to Marksman Hunter. Arcane Shot, Chimera Shot, Multi-Shot deal 10% more damage, and having 8% chance to grant you the Death Blow effect. Okay, that's cool. Death Blow, of course, is right here. It gives you a charge of Kill Shot and causes Kill Shot to be able to be used on anybody, regardless of their health. Kill Shot damage increased by 15%, and Kill Shot reduces the cooldown of Rapid Fire and Aim Shot by 0.5. So this is a little bit better. It's still basically just more of the same, but it is giving Kill Shot that extra little bit of utility by reducing the cooldown on Rapid Fire and Aim Shot, and it encourages you to do a Death Blow build with, of course, Razor Fragments, getting the extra AoE damage splash there as well. I think most Marksman Hunters are doing this right now anyway. So, yeah, I think that this is already a thing. But getting the cooldown back on Rapid Fire is a really big deal, because Rapid Fire just gives you so much extra damage and, of course, gives you a whole bunch of focus. So very good. I like the secondary effect there, but it's not like a massive deal. And I think it's going to go just up 1. It's a strong idea, basically, with the Death Blow effect, but it is mostly passive in what it's doing, and it really is only an 8% chance. That's pretty low, even though you are going to be pressing things like Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot in particular quite a bit. So you're gonna trigger this a lot, but it's just 8% is just super low. So it doesn't have anything like amazing, mind-blowing that's going to like change our talents and stuff. Okay, Survival Hunter. Let's go down here to this. This is really rough, I think, and disappointing for me, in my opinion. Wildfire Bomb damage is increased by 10%. Cool, we wanted that for a while. Throwing a Wildfire Bomb increases the damage of your next kill command by 50%. This doesn't say stacking. Like this can stack up to 3 times or 4 times. But that's a really big problem in my mind, because oftentimes you're so cramped on GCDs as a survival hunter that you could sometimes throw bombs back to back, because you're getting different colored bombs, right? Like you might get a Serpent Sting bomb, and then you might get the Pheromone bomb, then you might get the Shrapnel bomb. So it's like, I don't know. I know you're supposed to, like, during Coordinated Assault, for example, you're supposed to use kill commands before you press Kill Shot or whatever to try and get the pets auto attacks to trigger, so that they give you the extra damage bonus to, you know, Kill Shot or whatever it is, right? Or Wildfire Bomb. But I just feel like this should say that it stacks, and it doesn't say that. And so I feel like I'm going to waste this all the time. I'm going to press my Wildfire Bomb twice in a row by accident, and then, like, boom, I'm going to mess up this kill command bonus that I'm supposed to be getting. So that's really annoying. Force set bonus, every 25 focus you spend reduces the cooldown on Wildfire Bomb by 1 more second. So I like the idea of that, except that, like, there are other talents that are doing that are normal. Like, Explosive Expert is completely useless now. Why would you ever take this? And Bombardier is even more useless now than it's ever been, because you're getting Wildfire Bomb cooldown reduction. That's what Bombardier does for you, basically. You're getting that, like, all the time now. So, and also there's new talents coming in. I totally forgot about this. There's new talents coming in 10.1. Look at Lunge. Auto attacks reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb. You only have to take 2 points in Ruthless Marauder. Fury of the Eagle reduces the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb. Like, why would I ever take Explosive Expert? Why would I ever take Bombardier? So this tier set is sort of like alienating some talents over here that have been recently buffed, that are going to get buffed. So I feel like these are at odds with each other. I don't understand really what they're doing with this bonus. This 100% needs to be worked on. This is not a good bonus. A lot, particularly because of the buffs that they have coming in. But, you know, this Explosive Expert talent is just garbage now. It's so bad. You're getting the cooldown on Wildfire Bomb from multiple things, right? Butchery gives it to you. Lunge will give it to you now. Fury of the Eagle gives it to you. And even Coordinated Assault will give it to you, even if you're not running Bombardier, even if you're running Birds of Prey, which you should probably run. So the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb goes down with Coordinated Kill. So this is just bad. It's just really, really bad. Needs to be changed, I think, completely. I would really love to see them do a Mongoose Bite type build. Something like this. Here's what I want it to be. When you're channeling Fury of the Eagle, you will Mongoose Bite 3 times. A random nearby enemy 3 times. Okay? That's pretty cool. And then Mongoose Bite. Every Mongoose Bite reduces the cooldown of Fury of the Eagle. That's what I want. That would be really, really cool. It would give Fury of the Eagle more damage in single target because you're getting 3 Mongoose Bites for free, which are stacking up your Mongoose Fury window. Okay? So you're incentivized to, like, get Fury of the Eagle going in single target so that you can get those Mongoose Bites going. And then Mongoose Bite is giving you Fury of the Eagle back so that you can just rinse and repeat the process. I think something as simple as that would be incredibly cool. All this Wildfire Bomb business is like, we already have talents that are doing that. Fury of the Eagle does that. Lunge does that. Butchery does that. Explosive Expert, if I wanted that. Like, it's just like, I feel like they should just shift their focus and do something else completely. So that's pretty frustrating to see that on Survival Hunter because I really love Survival and I hope it gets changed, honestly. But it's early days, so stay positive. It could very much get changed soon, all right? All right, that's Hunter. All right, let's do Mage here. We're going to start with Arcane. Arcane Surge increases spell damage by an additional 5%, and its duration is increased by 3 seconds. If you don't know, Arcane Surge is the big cooldown that Arcane has now, right? So now it lasts for... The buff is going to last for 15 seconds instead of 12 seconds. And with Arcane Power, it's going to increase your damage by 40% instead of just 35 with Arcane Power, of course. So that's not bad. That's just throughput, right? Not bad. For every 20,000 mana you spend during Arcane Surge, your spell damage is increased by 1% for 12 seconds after Arcane Surge fades. This, to me, feels like the unholy DK problem again, where... Really, the way that Arcane Mage wants to work is they want to shove every single cooldown that they have, including Arcane Surge, into the Touch of the Magi window. Like, that's what you're trying to do, right? And you're not really relying on a lot of damage that comes outside of your Touch of the Magi Arcane Surge window. You're just not. Like, you're really trying to pump everything into that, including maybe Spark. Spark and Magi and Surge all getting shoved into this one big burst window that just annihilates the pack in front of you. And then you do kind of mediocre damage outside of that. And then you get your cooldowns back and you just annihilate the next pack. And that's the way the spec works. And it's just like Army of the Dead for Unholy Decay. So this whole, like, getting spell damage for 12 seconds after Arcane Surge fades just doesn't really make sense to me. I think that that's just wrong. I don't know what they should do with this, but I do think that this needs to be worked on. I don't think that this really deserves to have any other rating other than that. So I think it needs to be worked on big time. Let's move on to Fire. Fire's is extremely cool. I think Fire's is always cool. Phoenix Flames applies charring embers to all enemies it damages, increasing their damage taken from you by 6%. Fair enough. More throughput. When your direct damage spells hit an enemy affected by charring embers, direct damage spells, by the way, 30 times, you gain hyperthermia for 6 seconds. Hyperthermia, if you don't know, is a talent that I don't think anybody takes down in the bottom right-hand corner here. When Hot Streak activates, you have a low chance to cause all Pyroblasts and Flame Strikes to have no cast time and be guaranteed crits. This is crazy. 5 seconds of this is crazy. So, number one, the tier set's pretty good because you can guarantee when you want this to proc, right? When your direct damage spells hit an enemy affected by charring embers. So, you get to control when this procs. When this procs, you have 6 seconds of hyperthermia. That's probably 3 to 4 GCDs you could get, depending on your haste, where you could just press 4 Pyroblasts. They're guaranteed to crit, and they're instant cast. So it's like, that's going to contribute more hot streaks, which are going to get you more instant cast Pyroblasts. You see what I'm saying? It just sort of perpetuates onto itself. Very cool. The question will be, how easy is it to stack this bonus up 30 times? Because it's talking about direct damage spell hits. So I don't think it means, like, ignites. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. We'll have to test it on the PTR when we get there. But I think this is really good. I think it's a really cool idea. You're adding an additional capstone. And maybe people will change their talents to play around with this. I doubt they would. You're probably still going to obviously go to Sun King's Blessing and stuff. But this is a really cool idea that, you know, once this thing procs, people who are really good at the game at Fire Mage are going to be able to manipulate this in a way that gets them all the different procs that they want, and maybe gets them back to Sun King's Blessing. Gets all different other kinds of procs, like Pyroclasm, right? Consuming Hot Streak has a 15% chance to make your next non-instant Pyroblast 230% more damage. So this could contribute to that, right? Because you're consuming a Hot Streak. When you fire this, it's going to crit, and you're going to get another crit, and then you can do a Hot Streak, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fire bonus a lot. I think it's very good. I think it makes you think about your playstyle. I think it's great. It's going to go up here. Okay. Finally, let's go to Frost. Flurry and Frostbolt damage up by 20%. That's insane. That's really good. Flurry is, of course, over here if you don't know. And underneath it is, of course, Brain Freeze, which we'll get to in a second right here. Flurry causes an explosion on impact, dealing 50% of its damage to nearby enemies reduced beyond 5 targets. That's really good. Flurry packs a punch. This thing is no joke. It's actually quite good. 4-piece, casting Ice Lance on a frozen target, which you do all the time because your spells act like all the time it's happening because of like Fingers of Frost, right? Fingers of Frost causes your next Ice Lance to do damage as though the target were frozen, right? This has an 8% chance to trigger Brain Freeze. That is crazy. Brain Freeze, of course, if you don't know, is the passive here that says Frostbolt has a 30% chance to reset the cooldown on Flurry and cause your next Flurry to deal 50%. So this is just like a Flurry set. You fire off Flurry, it smashes and does AoE damage. You fire off Flurry, it smashes and does AoE damage. Then you cast Ice Lance onto frozen targets with your Fingers of Frost buff going. It has an 8% chance to trigger Brain Freeze. You have other ways to trigger Brain Freeze too, but you're basically going to want to try to trigger Brain Freeze as much as you possibly can. That's what you want to do. You want to trigger Brain Freeze all the G-dang time, and you have other talents that can kind of support you there. Eben Bolt might be something that gives you, because it guarantees that you get Brain Freeze, or you could go Frozen Touch, which gives you a higher chance to get Brain Freeze, which is huge, right? More Frostbolt casts. Down here, Icy Veins grants you a charge of Brain Freeze, so you could go like Eben Bolt, get the Brain Freeze. You could go like Flurry, into Eben Bolt, into Flurry, into Icy Veins, which gives you Brain Freeze, which gives you Flurry, into Flurry. See what I'm saying? Like, you can do 4 or 5, maybe 6 Flurries in a row and just absolutely blast a pack of mobs with AoE damage. So I don't know if this is going to change Frost and get them away from the current, like, Snowstorm, Blizzard, plus your Frozen Orb plus Blizzard, Freezing Rain, right? Making Blizzard. I mean, you could probably just combo this with the new Flurry stuff and make it all work together. There's probably a build there, right? But I don't think it's going to interfere with what you're trying to do already. It might just add to it. So I think Frost is looking very, very exciting. And I'm going to throw that right at the top. I think it's just as good as the Fire one. I love this. Might even be better, actually. I would probably put it there. Okay? The Arcane one, unfortunately, is kind of just terrible. It needs to be reworked. That's me. All right, finally, for this video, we've got Monk. We're going to start with Brewmaster. Blackout Kick, damage increased by 20%. You have a 10% chance to not reset elusive brawler stacks on a successful dodge. If you don't know what that means, elusive brawler is simply the dodge chance here for Brewmaster Monk. Oh, that's shuffle. Sorry, where's elusive? It's just baseline, I think, right? Yep, it's just baseline. Here it is. It's your mastery. Each time you're hit by a melee attack or you're hit with Blackout Kick, you have a chance to, you get this stacking dodge bonus, right? And then once you dodge, it resets. So this is saying it has a 10% chance not to reset, which is super cool. Super duper cool. Now, Rising Sun Kick grants a stack of Elusive Brawler. When you dodge, damage and critical strike chance of your next Blackout Kick or Rising Sun Kick is increased by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. So, this is okay. It's not like the most that I was kind of hoping for. I actually would really prefer that they change this. It's not bad. It's buffing your dodge chance, which is really good. You already have good dodge chance. Dodging is really good because it avoids all the damage that you would have taken. It does buff your Blackout Kick, and you can make your Blackout Kick hit multiple enemies with Shadowboxing Treads. So I think that that's hopefully going to stack there, which is super cool. But I kind of wish that this was tied to Healing Spheres, which is right here. Gift of the Ox. When you take damage, you have a chance to summon a Healing Sphere. I was really hoping that they would simply say, when you gain a stack of Elusive Brawler, you also have a chance to spawn like a Healing Sphere. I think that would be kind of cool. And it sort of ramps up over time. And then when you consume one of your Healing Spheres, you increase the damage and crit of your next Blackout Kick or Rising Sun Kick by 5%, stacking it to 5 times. I wish it was tied to the healing. I wish there was kind of like a more consistent way to generate Healing Spheres, and then you could obviously suck them all up with a Expel Harm and get a big heal, which is super great, and then also increase the damage of your next Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick. So this is a pretty lame set as far as the tank ones go, and it essentially doesn't really do much. It's really boring, and it just doesn't make me think about my talents. There's just not a lot going on here. So it's going into the boring, but probably still strong because it is giving you extra damage on both ends. 20% here and then up to 25% here for Blackout Kick and then Rising Sun Kick, which is super good. And, of course, getting an additional stack of Elusive Brawler from Rising Sun Kick is super good. But it's just boring as hell. You don't notice when it's even happening. You just don't notice. So, Mistweaver. Also a little disappointed with the Mistweaver one. Okay, it doesn't really interact with our Fist Weaving. It kind of does. Renewing Mist is a chance to grant Soulfang Infusion, granting 5% of your maximum mana over 6 seconds. This is crazy. This is the only healing set that gives you mana back, by the way, which is kind of interesting. Drinking a tea, or gaining Soulfang Infusion increases the healing of your Vivify and Renewing Mist by 40% for 6 seconds. That's actually a huge number. So the throughput is there. I'm just disappointed it doesn't really interact with our Fist Weaving as much. Of course, Rising Sun Kick does add Renewing Mists to allies, which is super cool. And you can, of course, add Renewing Mist pre-pull. You can do Thunder Focus Tea and then add a really, really long Renewing Mist, which is super cool. This is the interesting part here. Drinking from AT or gaining Soulfang Infusion. Soulfang Infusion, you're probably just gaining it all the time from Renewing Mist. But if you drink from Thunder Focus Tea or Mana Tea, if you drink from either of those, because those are both teas, of course, then you gain the Soulfang Infusion, and it increases the healing or Vivify. So you could have this 40% healing bonus, I think, going like all the time. And then you're going to have your Renewing Mist out all the time, and your Vivify will, of course, splash to allies with Renewing Mist. So this is pretty good. This is actually pretty good. I just wish it was tied a little bit more to Blackout Kick or Rising Sun Kick or Spinning Crane Kick or Feline Stomp would be really great. So I'm a little disappointed that it's not tied to kind of the abilities that we're pressing a lot more often. But I still think this is incredibly strong. You can't deny how strong this is, and I think it goes up here. It's a strong idea, but it's kind of just mostly passive. But it is very strong, what it's doing. 40% healing is no joke on both of those abilities. Okay, finally, Windwalker. Rising Sun Kick deals increased damage and has the chance to go Nova, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. That's huge. That's really cool. Rising Sun Kick is super cool. Your melee auto attacks have a chance to launch a Shadow Flame Spirit at your enemy that duplicates your next 3 abilities at whatever effectiveness. Kind of insane, kind of weird. The big problem here that a lot of the Windwalker people in the forums were identifying is that this is based on your melee auto attacks. And when you are channeling Fists of Fury and when you are doing Spinning Crane Kick, you can't auto attack. That's my understanding of that. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But I don't believe you can auto attack while you're spinning or doing Fists of Fury. And that is an enormous part of your rotation in AoE, in Mythic Plus. So I feel like this is not going to trigger in, like, Mythic Plus, like, ever. It's just a really bad design. So all they really have to do here is change auto attacks to like Tiger Palm or Blackout Kick or whatever they want to do. Just insert X ability and it'll be honestly probably a really good set. So I'm going to put this, I think I'm going to put it below actually, because it needs to be reworked a bit. So this does need to be reworked. It's not horrible. As soon as this gets changed from auto attacks to like any ability, it probably goes up here. It probably becomes like really strong, but mostly passive, which it would be. It's literally entirely passive. But for now, it needs to be reworked. It needs that love, 100%. Okay? That's Windwalker. Those are the first 7 classes that we have done. DK, DH, Druid, Evoker, Hunter, Mage, Monk. We're going to do the last 6 tomorrow in the next video. These are the rankings so far. I will, of course, get the rest of them in there soon, and you can kind of see how they all kind of pile up. There's actually a pretty even distribution so far, and yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about all these different tier set bonuses coming through? Do you think they're good? Do you think they're really horrible? Which ones have surprised you? Please tell me in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you down there. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.